Welcome to NNTV Presents One City Marathon Making History. I'm your host, Desiree Williams. As a physical fitness professional, marathon runner, and Newport News resident, I'm honored to have been a part of this inaugural race weekend. It's been a great run, and with me are two key figures who helped to make this event possible. We have Mayor McKinley Price and Newport News City Manager Jim Borey. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Welcome.
So Mayor Price, all I can say is wow. I mean, what an awesome weekend. What does this mean for our city?
Well, the One City Marathon was a phenomenal race, and we did things that just tied the whole city together. So it was so many people on the streets enjoying the events, and it just tied the whole city together. So it was a happening is basically what it was.
Great, great. And Jim, is this what you envisioned when you realized that Newport News was the perfect place for a marathon?
Well, that's what I think it is. It's what I would say I dreamt about for a year. But it was really even more than that. To have 2,600 runners, to have 800 volunteers, to have 7,000 people downtown, and to have so many thousands of people line the course, cheering runners on, it was a pretty special day for us.
I would definitely have to agree with that. And there were charities that benefited as well.
There were charities that benefited, and we are right now adding up the totals, adding up our expenses, and finding out exactly how much we're going to be able to give those three charities. And that's special. The Food Bank, the Mayor's Book Club, and Soundscapes will all benefit from the race.
All awesome organizations.
Yes. And I wanted to give a special shout out to Flat Out Events. They did an amazing job in this marathon. Their first marathon, but they were pros.
And the city of Newport News and the Peninsula's first full marathon, and that's history making in and of itself.
Yes, it was.
So Mayor, I know I saw you all weekend long at several of the events. What was your favorite memory from the race weekend?
Well, the staff did a wonderful job of spreading the events throughout the whole city. But probably the highlight for me was Dave McGivery looked at me and said, you know, he had been doing a number of marathons, but none had he seen the event of the city like our city contributed from the community. So when he looked at me and said, Mayor, second to none, that was just a highlight for me for the whole weekend.
And so Jim, what about you? What's your favorite memory of the weekend?
You know, Desiree, there's so many favorite memories. Right after the race, somebody asked me what my favorite part was, and I said, finishing, done. But really, I would say the highlight during the race was going down Main Street and making that turn at Hilton Village. There was so much energy, so much enthusiasm. That was a really special moment. And one of the special moments, if I can have two, was at the dinner, when we all talked about the importance of the event, and we all had this little shout out for One City.
We are One City! We are.
I thought that was pretty special.
Absolutely. The way the city came together was, as Dave McGilvray said, second to none. It's a phenomenal weekend.
So what was your favorite moment?
I love seeing the city come together, especially at the starting line of the 8K, where I was able to stand and count down on the microphone and blow the horn to start the 8K race. And know that I was truly making history, and we were truly making history in the city of Newport News. Such an honor to be a part of the entire race weekend, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity. Well, bringing the city together like that didn't just happen magically. A lot of hard work went into that.
A tremendous amount of hard work. A lot of city staff were involved, and I want to give a special thanks to Telly Whitfield, assistant to the city manager. He did an awesome job. Dave Wilkinson in the engineering department, and so many others in all departments throughout the city did a tremendous job. We also had a great partnership with Flat Out Events. Jason Todd and his crew, they were amazing, and we really want to give a special thanks to everybody who's involved in this, because it was a team effort.
Absolutely. It was an awesome weekend in Newport News. Thank you, Mayor Price, for being with us.
Thank you.
Speaking of memories, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, Jim and I will be joined with Jason Todd of Flat Out Events, who's going to share a little bit about what our runners had to say about the Newport News One City Marathon.
3, 2, 1. First ever
Welcome back to NNTV Presents One City Marathon Making History. I'm Desiree Williams, and with me is Newport News City Manager Jim Borey and President of Flat Out Events, our race director, Jason Todd. As the race director, your company, Flat Out, spent almost a year designing this event with the city. What was the biggest challenge?
Well, first, let me just say what a privilege it was to have this opportunity. But I think the biggest challenge was just the scope of the event. You know, our first marathon being a point-to-point race. We had shuttle programs, I think 5 different routes going all over the route. And then my staff being spread out, you know, amongst those 26 miles. So those were the most daunting, you know, things coming into the event. But as I've told everyone post-race, you know, this was a real we effort, and meaning we, the city and Flat Out Events, you know, work together to make this a success. And I just had an overwhelming amount of support from the city. We had a group of 30 or 35 folks that met, you know, monthly planning the event, and then several other meetings, you know, throughout the month, you know, and especially, you know, like to recognize Telly Whitfield of the City Manager's Office and Dave Wilkerson of the Engineering Department. You know, they were really who helped us to come up with an exceptional race route to get us an unbelievable amount of community support along the race, and you know, I think really exceed everyone's expectations in this first year, and that includes, you know, selling out the marathon and the marathon relay.
But no one has to worry, because we're going to have an expanded race next year with more capacity.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So, you know, as a Newport News company, though, you know, we obviously want to continue to grow our footprint here in the community, and you know, we're just so proud to be a part of this event. We were able to add some jobs through this event. I pretty much had to double my staff, you know, to take on such a large event, and we were able to take a lot of the bigger race expenses to businesses here in Newport News. It includes the event shirts, all the signage throughout the event. You know, all that money went right back into businesses here in Newport News. So very happy with that as well.
We're really happy to be able to grow a Newport News company and Flat Out Events. Also had a tourism boost, hotels and meals and other things, which really helped to generate more money for our economy, which was really terrific, and we're really happy with that. It's another added benefit.
Absolutely. A great amount of effort went into making this event possible, but it was a phenomenal success. I think we can all agree. All right, Jason, you're of course a runner, and Flat Out Events' main business is running and the running experience. So how did the Newport News One City Marathon rate? What are the runners saying?
Yeah, well, it's been overwhelmingly positive, you know, feedback. I've received personal emails from several of the top runners commenting on the experience, and these are folks that run, you know, several events throughout the year, so they're used, you know, they know what they're talking about. I received personal email from the principal at Heritage High School talking about her experience. They brought out a group of 200 or more students to cheer on runners at a very needed place about 25 miles in. So that was great. They actually won our Town Bank Hometown Spirit Award for their participation. But probably 2 or 3 stories that really are, you know, have stuck with me on Facebook. You know, there's people commenting, you know, sharing their stories and experiences. One runner talked about she's run 28 marathons, and she commented the fact that things were so well organized, you know, so well done for an inaugural event. You know, she just was really blown away. Another gentleman talked about the community support, second to none, you know, was his comment. And then probably my favorite story, and really why Flat Out is in business, our photographer that we hired to take pictures for us, she rode her bike from the start line at Newport News Park all the way down to the finish line. And so she got to see the whole race route, you know, stopping along the way. And she wrote me a note after the race and talked about how overwhelming the experience was, and that she's going to take up a running program. She's not a runner, but she's going to start running because of what she experienced, you know, at this event. And that's what it's all about.
So Jason just mentioned Heritage High School. The Newport News school system was just absolutely amazing. The elementary schools brought hundreds of children out. In addition to that, our Newport News Park Recreation and Tourism folks brought hundreds through their programs. There were kids that were introduced to running, introduced to the sport, that had never an inkling, I'm sure, and we're going to have a lot of runners out of that.
Yeah, seeing the kids start at the nautical 1 mile and finish at the end was really a special moment for me as well. So Jim, you ran the 26-mile marathon. How was your runner experience?
Runner experience was amazing, and I wanted to build on what you just said, Des, because one of the things we found is that people did things that they would never have done before. They were active in a way they would never have been. They were certainly in participating in run events, some of which we never did that before. So that was a really amazing. The other piece is we wanted this to be a very welcoming event. The whole theme, "You've never been welcome this," I heard be repeated by many people that ran. So this was the most welcoming race they'd ever been. For me, it was an awesome experience. All the way, all 26.2 miles, there were so many people that I saw that cheered me on. "Go, Jim!" That was fantastic. And it gave me that energy and enthusiasm. So I had a smile on my face virtually the whole way. Now, mile 26, it may have faded a little bit towards the end, but it was really an amazing experience and one that I will certainly cherish. And I know a lot of people that ran it will cherish as well.
Absolutely. Well, I have to ask, with all this excitement and all this success, is there another Newport News One City Marathon in the work?
We will have another one and another one and another one. It will be an annual event in Newport News. We're looking at March 13th for the date. So this past year we were March 15th, the Ides of March. Next year we'll be on the 13th. We're not a bit superstitious.
I see.
We're already starting to plan that event for March 13th.
Awesome. So there you have it, folks. March 13th, 2016 will be the second annual Newport News One City Marathon. Stay tuned to NNTV and don't forget to like Newport News One City Marathon on Facebook. You'll be the first to know when registration opens. Jason, again, thank you so much for joining us today and for having such a successful event here in the city of Newport News.
My pleasure, thank you.
We're going to take a short break and share some highlights from the history-making event weekend. And when we come back, Jim and I will be joined with our presenting sponsor, who'll share a little bit more about what it was like to be a part of the inaugural Newport News One City Marathon. Welcome back to NNTV Presents One City Marathon Making History. I'm Desiree Williams, and with me is Newport News City Manager Jim Borey. And from our presenting sponsor, Newport News Shipbuilding, we have Jennifer Dunn. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Well, Jennifer, we know that we couldn't have done this without the support of Newport News Shipbuilding and folks like you. What do you think? Was the event a success?
I thought it was great. I've heard nothing but positive feedback. I think the city did an excellent job, especially for this being the first time. It was a huge undertaking, and by all accounts, it was really successful. And I think, Jim, you and your team, Telly, you all did an excellent job. First-class event.
And how did your employees get involved?
Well, we had several months to help promote it. We have 23,000 employees, and health and wellness is very important to us at the shipyard. Safety is also very important. It's something we talk about on a regular basis. So this was a natural fit for us. And we put out calls for running teams, runners, and then we had, I think, 8 to 10 employees who we profiled in our company publications, on social media. We talked to them about their training tips, and they helped to inspire other people. We also put together a coach who would send out weekly tips to employees who were interested in running or just becoming more healthy. So it was a great way to motivate people to participate or either to just have a healthier lifestyle.
These events don't happen without major sponsorship from private companies, and Newport News Shipbuilding was terrific. They absolutely came to support this community as they have for more than 100 years. Thank you. Newport News Shipbuilding joins a whole list of sponsors, including Ferguson, Anthem, Riverside, Marriott City Center, Town Bank, W.M. Jordan, CSX, Tidewater Physical Therapy, and media sponsors Daily Press, Sinclair Radio, News Channel 3, all were absolutely incredible media sponsors. In addition to that, we had many of our friends that supported the weekend, sponsorship for mile markers and the expo. It was absolutely amazing, and it all came together. We are one city.
Jim, Jennifer talked a lot about the health and wellness focus at Newport News Shipbuilding. What about the city of Newport News?
It was important for all of our city. There were, as I said before, there were people doing things that had never thought they would do something physical before. That was really awesome. But in addition to that, it gave us a different feeling about ourselves. This is really about taking pride in owning an event, putting on a first-class event and saying, wow, we'll beat our chest and say, we're Newport News and we did something pretty special.
Definitely. Well, Jennifer, thank you again for being with us, and thank you for the support of Newport News Shipbuilding and making this event a success.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me, and we were very proud to be part of it. Congratulations.
We're going to take a short break to remind everyone of our business partners, and when we come back, Newport News City Manager Jim Borey and I will be joined with another one of our Newport News One City Marathon sponsors. Welcome back to our show. NNTV presents One City Marathon Making History. With me is Newport News City Manager Jim Borey, and also joining us is Daniel Ballin, Administrator for Riverside Health Systems, another one of our sponsors for the Newport News One City Marathon. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you, Desi.
So Riverside offered a lot of support throughout this, both before and during the marathon. Can you tell us how you activated your employees and staff as well as your business?
Yeah, so let me first start by saying Riverside was extremely humbled and proud to be involved in the inaugural race. Riverside takes great pride in being, the only health system headquartered in Newport News, and so through that we feel a very strong bond and kinship to the city. And so when the opportunity came to be involved, we definitely jumped at the opportunity. I know Jim reached out to us, and it didn't take much convincing on his part to get us involved. It was our 100-year anniversary. It tied in well. And so as the marathon continues to grow with us, our 100 years will add up as the marathon years add up. So we got involved as the title sponsor for the medical team, as well as a sponsor for the Health and Wellness Expo, and that was something that we were really excited about. So starting with the Health and Wellness Expo, we had one of the largest displays there, a very interactive display. We had our physical therapy team out there doing video, running analysis. So we were giving the runners some feedback. It's nice to get some of that feedback, and we thought it was important to make it interactive and enjoyable, and our team members really enjoyed it. We actually had Mayor McKinley Price as one of the volunteers, so we got good video on him and gave him some pointers so that he can eventually run this race one year if that so inclines him to do so. And then going into the pasta dinner, we were a sponsor of the pasta dinner, and it was our pleasure to introduce Dave McGilvery and be involved with that. So we had quite a lot of fun. And then going up to the race day, we had our medical tent set up at the finish line for all the runners. We were there greeting them at the finish line, triaging them, seeing how they were doing. We were there if Jim needed us, but luckily he didn't. So, our team loves being involved with these types of things. We're the medical sponsor for all of Flat Out events, and we just love being involved. It creates a great community involvement for our nurses and our physicians.
Good. Daniel, you mentioned the pasta dinner, and Jim, I know that you engaged Dave McGilvery pretty early on.
We had lunch with him many, many months ago, invited him to come to the race, invited him to be our speaker, and he did a wonderful job in that speech. He talked also about his health event and his journey to even better health. Even though he'd run for many, many years, ran more than 100,000 miles, he had a health scare a year ago, and he talked about that and talked about what you need to do to really take care of yourself. That was really important. So Dave was our #1 bib. He was #1. I had #2. After the race, I figured out that if I had not invited him, I could have finished 3rd in my age group, because he finished 3rd instead.
Oh. Remember that for next year.
I remember that for next year.
Well, both of you all know that I'm big on health and fitness, especially as it relates to our youth. So Seeing the kids cross the finish line at the nautical 1 mile was really very exciting. What about for you all?
Yeah, and health and wellness starts with kids, and so if we can embrace them and create that healthy lifestyle when they're young, I think that'll continue through their older adult years. And so Riverside was just proud to be part of that, and we got to talk to some of the kids and put medals on them as they finished and see the joy that they had just from completing that event. It was great to be involved.
So Jim, I know that a lot of the students were a part of Newport News Public Schools, but there was another group that really ignited a lot of young runners. Can you tell us about that?
The Newport News Park System was very engaged, and they have had a program for running to introduce children to running over the last several months, and they had hundreds of children that were out there running as well, which again introduced them to a sport they might not think about.
Good. Yeah, it was great seeing the kids, and Daniel, I know a lot of Riverside employees were pretty well represented at the marathon weekend. Can you tell us about how you ignited them to participate?
Well, I didn't have to ignite them. They were ignited. Like I mentioned earlier, we participate in a lot of the flat out event races, and when this opportunity came up, I had triple the number of inquiries as to how can we get involved, how can we do this race. I'm not sure if it was the inaugural race or the fact that it was a great finish line. But so we had a lot of people interested. We had probably over 100 runners total. We had a bunch of teams. We had one team in particular that spanned 4 generations. So we had employees aged 23 through 62, each generation taking a different leg of the 4 legs of the marathon. So that went really well. And then, to top it all off, we had an employee who has run a marathon before, never ever dreamed of qualifying for Boston. Ran her race and ended up qualifying, in her second marathon for a Boston Marathon qualifier. So Marcella is very happy about that, and we're very proud of her to show that you can set a goal and strive to achieve it.
To be a Boston qualifier was important for us. It gave us an opportunity to get a little bit more visibility than we would have. We felt it was going to be a fast course, which it was. And we felt that would be a good in for us with the running community, and people seemed to rally behind that. I think it's going to be known as a fast course and place where someone can come, run a fast time, and get the qualifying for Boston.
We're looking forward to growing numbers years to come.
Yes.
So Jim, before we wrap this all up, is there anything else you want to add?
I'd like to sum up, Des, that this race meant a lot to us. First, obviously, it was a way to unite our community. It was a race for 26 miles from the very top of our community to the Victory Arch downtown. And it really it gave us an opportunity to come together. As I was talking with people along the route, people said, I didn't know this was in Newport News. There's people that had never seen the Victory Arch. So it really brought people together in a way that maybe wasn't expected. It also had that wellness benefit. As we talked about people doing things that they wouldn't have otherwise had. It gave us an opportunity for tourism, to promote tourism, our restaurants, our hotels. But beyond all of that, it gave us an opportunity to say, this is something special that we've done to give us a pride in Newport News and a pride in our own accomplishments.
Well, it's official. We have made history with the first annual Newport News One City Marathon. Congratulations again on an unbelievable weekend.
Well, thank you, Desiree. And you were an outstanding spokesperson for us throughout this whole time. Thank you for that. Thank you for participation. And thank you for Dan for Riverside, another wonderful partner.
Well, it's official. We made history in Newport News at the first One City Marathon. Thank you to Mayor Price, Jim Borey, Flat Out Events, all of our sponsors, and all of you who volunteered, raced, and celebrated with us. We're going to leave you with pictures from our post-race One City, One Celebration presented by Town Bank. We hope to see you next year as we celebrate that we are one great city. We'll see you next year for the second annual Newport News One City Marathon, March 13th, 2016. as we celebrate and show the world that we are one great city.